They say there are thousands of emotions, but when you strip it all down, there are really only two: love and fear. One expands, one contracts. One connects you to who you really are. The other convinces you to forget. Most of the time, we don't even realize we're choosing. We just react, repeat patterns, absorb the noise around us. But underneath it all, there is always a choice, even in silence, even in chaos. I know, it might sound too simplistic. Two emotions? What about grief, anger, shame, joy? But this idea isn't about shrinking the human experience down. It's about recognizing the root system underneath it all. This concept goes way back, but was brought into modern spiritual conversation by a text called A Course in Miracles. It teaches that all human emotions stem from either love or fear. Marianne Williamson, who helped bring it to the mainstream, emphasizes that choices are often made unconsciously, but ultimately stem from either an opening to love or a closing off due to fear. Anger? Often fear dressed in armor. Fear that we'll be hurt, dismissed, or made powerless if we show what's really underneath. Jealousy? Usually fear of abandonment or inadequacy. The fear that we won't be chosen or that we're not enough. Numbness or apathy? Sometimes it's fear of feeling too much, of being overwhelmed by pain, so we shut down before it hits. Hate is often the surface expression of a deeper fear that's been denied, distorted, or projected outward. We might think we're afraid of a person, a group, or a movement, but underneath we're really afraid of uncertainty, of losing control, of letting go of an identity that once kept us safe. When we haven't been taught to sit with discomfort or examine our triggers, the fear gets twisted. It becomes a story. They're dangerous. They're taking something from me. They don't belong. My misery is their fault. And once fear has a target, it stops asking questions. That's how fear turns to hate. Not because it's evil, but because it's unexamined. At its core, much of it ties back to the fear of scarcity, the belief that if someone else gains, we lose, that resources and power are limited. That same fear shows up in reactions to people of color, to women, and anyone else that we see as disrupting the traditional order. It's the fear of displacement, of losing control, status, or identity. Fear that power is shifting and that they no longer get to define the story. In a society built on dominance, equality can feel threatening, not because it is, but because it requires a new way of being. And fear, when it isn't met with compassion or awareness, gets projected outward, as blame, as hate, as division. On the flip side, kindness, patience, and curiosity all live in the energy of love. There's a reason that fear feels heavy. It literally alters the body. Science backs this up. The HeartMath Institute has shown how emotions like love, gratitude, and compassion create what's called physiological coherence, where the heart, brain, and body are working in sync. Your immune system strengthens. Your thinking becomes clearer. Fear does the opposite. It throws the body into survival mode and makes us reactive. We start making choices from scarcity, from the need to protect something that we think we're about to lose. And this isn't just a theory for me. When I wrote my song Darkest Day, it came from a place of witnessing how fear is constantly being pushed on us and weaponized through the news, through social media, and stories that we're absorbing at any given time. I wanted to create something that met those shadows with light, not with denial, not with pretending that it's all good, but with the kind of love that says, I see the fear, yet I'm still choosing to stay open. So how do we actually do that? Because it's one thing to say choose love, and another to be in the middle of something that feels like it's breaking you. Let's say you just got rejected or lost a job. Fear kicks in hard and quick. I'm not good enough. What did I do wrong? But with love, that same moment becomes an opening, a redirection, an invitation to come back to your worth, even when it doesn't feel earned. If you're watching the news, fear says it's all falling apart. Love says, what's still in my power to give, to create, or to heal, even now? Love doesn't avoid pain. It doesn't ignore injustice. It just relates to those things from a grounded center. Love doesn't rush in with noise. It roots itself in presence, in truth, and in choice. When you don't take the bait, when you choose to listen instead of lashing out, when you return to yourself before reacting to the world. Look, it doesn't feel good to be so easily triggered, because deep down you know that someone out there is pushing a narrative designed to trigger you. The reason is it serves their agenda, most likely not yours. Fear wants to keep you small. Love knows you are never anything less than infinite. And maybe that's what this chapter is really all about. Not defeating fear, but remembering that it was never the truth. In the next episode, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my song Darkest Day. What inspired it, what I was feeling when I wrote it, and how I turned fear into sound. Until next time, namaste.